Hi there. I can't hear you though. Oh, there you are.
Nobody could hear me.
Okay.
Let me try that again.
I'm like, wait a minute. Did I do something wrong?
No, I forgot I muted myself to talk to Kelly. Hold that thought. I'm
Okay,
going to do
buddy.
it all again. Ready?
All right.
Hey, you're tuned to the Pennsylvania Rock Show, featuring the best unsigned rock and metal that Pennsylvania has to offer. Right here on PARockShow.com, MegaRockRadio.net, and 107.1 FM St. Louis, Missouri for both of those. RooterooRadio.com in San Diego, California, right on the beach. XRPRadio.co.uk in the Highlands of Scotland. Nice. BuildTheScene.com/radio right here in the thriving metropolis of Leechburg, Pennsylvania. And my other Pennsylvania station, OldiesXL.com, where they let me play new, upcoming, unsigned, and independent music on their oldies station really early on Mondays. My name is Bill. This is episode number 643 of the PA Rock Show. If you are watching live on one of the bazillion live streaming situations I have set up right now, which would be Build a Scene, XRP, or First Angel Media's for Facebook page, or Build a Scene or First Angel Media's YouTube, or Build a Scene's Twitter, which is brand new, and Twitch, which I haven't done in a long time, feel free to comment and let us know. It'll show up in the comments, and Josie and I can reply to you, just like John Lane, who let me know that he couldn't hear me.
John Lane's first one.
So, Josie, you guys just put out a new, you consider that's an EP, right?
Yeah, it's an EP.
Named One.
Yeah, it's one. So there's a whole plan behind this. We're releasing 4 EPs over the next year instead of doing a full length. We're doing 4 EPs. Each one's going to have, well, we may have adjusted it now. It may be 6 on the next couple. The first one had 5, but we may do 6 on the next couple ones. And they're all going to tie together then at the end, and we'll release a vinyl that will have everything on one vinyl, double album or whatever we end up doing. But we've already gotten the next 2 albums written. We're rehearsing them, playing them at shows and stuff like that. So it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be awesome when it's all done.
Very cool. So we'll hear from John. I'm sorry, at the end of the show. It's
okay.
Pre-recorded. He'll tell you how you can comment. But John's hanging out in the chat room. You can find his band at hellfiremusic.com. I almost messed that one up, and I designed it. But I do have to say, Josie, and it's been a while since you guys started posting them, but I was watching the photo shoot photos that you were putting up, and being a concert and promotional photographer myself,
yeah,
you picked a very good photographer, I think.
I think that everybody needs to know about Josh Rich. He's really getting his footing going, and he's one of my favorite people in the world. On top of everything, and if I call him up and say, "Hey, I need you in 2 weeks," he drops what he can and comes and does it for us. But Josh Richardson he's from Pittsburgh actually, but he lives here, and we worked together for a while. That's how we became friends. And he's done all the photo shoots for Josie and the Corruption and my other band, Less Than Zero, also. So if anybody's interested in some really great photography, have them hit me up, and I'll get you in contact with Josh. He does it at a really fair price, and he knows what you want. He knows how to take your vision. Like I had a vision for the blimp hanger. I wanted to use the blimp hanger and make it a big part of what we were doing for those photos, and he jumped right in and knew exactly what I wanted. Did a good job. Thanks for saying that, man. He's a good dude.
You're welcome. So we haven't talked in a while, and I think the last time we talked, I think you might have been on 3 Questions and a Song.
We were on 3 Questions and a Song. Yeah, that was a fun interview.
Hopefully I asked you some questions I didn't ask you that night.
Hopefully there's only 3 on that one. So,
well, that is not true anymore, because I can't help but talk. I was editing an episode before we went live just now, and I stopped typing the questions in the show notes. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I don't want to type anymore. and it's like this long.
I think at that time I definitely had a completely different band, and our songs were in the pre-production, like strong demo kind of mode. Now we went to a studio, we recorded everything with Kern Murphy at Custom Audio Mutation, and man, you want to go get some quality work done, that's the guy. Not only that, he is one of the best guitar players in the world. And his new bands, which feature my son on drums, are both amazing. One's a death metal band, one's a hardcore band. They're really good. But Kern Murphy's the man if you want something recorded well.
I feel like I know that name.
You probably do. He was in Sunless Sky for a while. He has Shatter Messiah. He played in Never. I can't think of the name of it. It was a big one. I can't think of the name of it right now. But he was in another real big band. I'll think of it when we're not talking about it. But he toured the world. He was he's a heck of a guitar player for sure.
John says I know him.
Yeah. I can't think of the other name. It was Annihilator. He was in Annihilator.
Okay, that one sounds familiar.
Yeah, Annihilator, and them and Nevermore were real big in the 90s. Metal bands.
I definitely did not ask you this question, so we'll open with it.
Okay.
What is your favorite pizza that you've had because you're a musician? So either at a recording session, on your way to a show, on your way home from a show, at a show, something that relates it to being a musician.
So my favorite pizza is Fiesta Pizza in Akron and Cuyahoga Falls. That's just because when I was growing up, that was it. It was that, and then Pizza Hut came around, and then all the other ones came. That was the place to go for pizza, and there's still one of them left, and it's right by my house. So that's my favorite pizza. And I just like pepperoni, and it's like that thick and crunchy. Still, the crust is crunchy. It's delicious. Yeah, Fiesta Pizza, man.
I've recently discovered thin crust, which I never thought I would like.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it. I can't figure out why.
It's like a great change, and
it's like eating pizza. Right, it's like eating pizza on a cracker.
Yes. Yep. Especially when it's good and crunchy, man. That's awesome. Yep.
And then at the complete opposite of that spectrum, I've only had real Chicago pizza one time.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to go back to Chicago because it was. I mean, it's not pizza like I'm used to,
right?
But it's amazing.
So I was in the Marines, and I was stationed in San Diego for 6 of the greatest months of my life, and I was 22 years old and in San Diego, California, on a naval base where everybody thought Marines were gods, and it was just an amazing time. And that was the first time I went somewhere and you could buy pizza by the slice. Like I just walked into this place and we were drunk and we were hungry and they had pizza by the slice. And I don't know if it was any good, but that day it was the best
great,
pizza.
right?
It was amazing. Yeah.
That's my students ask me all the time about the pineapple and ham thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, when I was in college, I ate it, but it's not something I order.
So, yeah, I would never order it, but I'll eat it. And I like pineapple on anything. I made some stuff last night with pineapple and pork. And so I will eat cooked pineapple. So I don't hate it. But if I'm ordering something with meat on it.
So Chris Grenade says that people in Chicago don't actually eat deep dish pizza.
They have great dogs, though, too, man. Chicago dogs.
I'm going to argue that point, though, because Kat, who is one of the administrators at XRP Radio, is just from outside Chicago. And when she was visiting her fiance, who is the owner of XRP, she made him a deep dish pizza. So I'm going to go ahead and say that she eats it. So she made a deep dish pizza in Scotland.
Wow. That was probably something new for them. Yeah. Do they eat pizza in Scotland?
I don't know.
Somebody does, apparently.
They probably thought it was a pie. A lot of people chiming in today. Joe Acosta says New York style pizza.
Oh, that's my drummer, and he's from New York. So yeah, of course that's what he's gonna say. He's a freaking Yankees fan too.
Listen.
I caught myself, Bill.
here's what everybody tells me. It's something in the water in New York.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's supposed to. The water makes the crust better, is what I hear all the time.
What, the water from the Hudson River?
Yeah. Someday someone should analyze that water and find out why.
at least somebody from my band is watching though and chiming in. I like that.
So he says it's the pH level. That was quick. Actually, that was Chris Grenade that said that.
Okay.
All right. So since he's there and he can't respond, let's give you a moment to say something about him.
Okay.
Tell me. Wait. Before you even do that, you can do that. But before you do that, tell me something embarrassing that has happened on stage because of Joe.
Because of Joe. Embarrassing. I'll tell you what, Joe's pretty solid. But last Friday, we played in a cover band too. And last Friday, we were doing You Really Got Me by Van Halen. And so we play Ain't Talking About Love, and then we go into You Really Got Me. And in between, I do my version of, I call it Mr. Eruption. It's part Mr. Scary from George Lynch and part Eruption. And then we go back in the song. And then I still do the solo that Eddie does on You Really Got Me. And we're doing it, but so I'm doing it and I'm going to the part where it's kind of like where he's flipping that switch, dun, 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 dun. And I'm hitting my whammy bar because I don't have a switch to do it. I have a real Eddie Van Halen guitar that I'm using. And Joe's just looking at me and he's not going to the next part. And he's just going like this. And I'm like, okay, this is where we break. And he's looking at me and he's looking at me. And then all of a sudden he just like looks at me like he's mad at me. And then after we're done, I said, what happened? He goes, I screwed up. It was awesome. But Joe is a super solid drummer on stage. He starts it right and he ends it right. What goes on in between, that's rock and roll. But he starts them right. He ends them right, man. And I was going to run on a minute ago and I'll do that. So just stop me when I do too much, Bill. But my band was at a flux. We had been through a couple drummers. We had a drummer that started the band with us, and before our first show, he bailed 2 weeks before the show. And I know that he just didn't like the way I sang, didn't like that we were doing originals. He thought we were going to be a cover band and do all this stuff. So I understood that. I just wish he would have let it play the first show with us. And he bailed, so we found a guy who was awesome, Mike Carl, great drummer, young kid in Akron. He jumped in 2 weeks. Learned all the songs. We played the show. It went great. He was in the band for a while. We had another guy, Jason Raffle, who's a really cool guy, but it got too much for him with family, which often happens when you're like us, kind of. We're not weekend warriors. We take it a little bit more serious than that, but we all have real jobs, day jobs. And so Jason had to bail, and we brought Joe over to try out for the Corruption, and he showed up. And I've been through a lot of auditions in my life, Bill. And most guys show up and they know one song really well. And then they're like, okay, well, show me how to play this other song or, whatever like that. He showed up and our singer from my cover band, Mike Smith, was there. And we played the 5 songs that we had told him to learn. And when we're done, Mike goes, man, how long you guys been playing? That sounded really good. And I'm like, that was his audition. What are you talking about? It was that good, man. And ever since then, we've been through some stuff with our bass player leaving and with things getting thrown up in the air. We added 2 new members. Joe's he's my ride or die. He's my dude in this band now. He has my back no matter what I want to do. And, there's a name. It's called Josie and the Corruption for a reason, because it's my vision. But Joe understands my vision. I come in and say, hey, here's how I hear this song. And he takes it and does his thing and does it well. And he's always there for me. If I say, hey, we're playing a show, he's like, okay, cool, let's do it. Joe's a great guy. And I went on. I'm sorry, man.
That's good. Who else is in the band with you now?
Okay, so then Jamie Baisden, I think you know him. He plays bass for us. He was in Valkyrie X. He's been in every band, every metal band in Northeast Ohio at one point or another. And he is one of the greatest band members I've ever had, because if I say, Jamie, I need you to do these 5 things, I will wake up the next morning and 3 of them are already done, and the other 2 he's just waiting to hear back from somebody. Like, that's the way that he is. He has helped me out so much. He might not realize how much I've come to rely on him for stuff, but I do. He helps me, and he's always, I'll play that show, I'll do this, I'll do that. He loves the music. Um, Everybody in this band kind of lets me write the songs, bring the songs, and then they put their spin on them. You know what I mean? And Jamie he's jumped in. I think we played a show 3 weeks after he joined the band. Like, he just jumped in and was, let's go. He's a great guy. And then we found a guy that nobody in the world knows about, and he's turns out to be one of the best band. I mean, so awesome to have in the band. His name is Johnny Lexus, and he is a character, man, and we have turned him into.
The only thing I read on the liner notes when I looked at your stuff quickly was that Johnny Lexus wants to thank Johnny Lexus. That's all I saw.
Yes. And so we have turned him into this character. He is a younger guy than all of us, and he's never been in a real band. We were getting ready to go on stage for our first show with him, and my girlfriend and I walked over and we're like, "Hey, how's it going, man?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm good." And I said, are you ready to play? And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "So counting this, how many shows have you played?" And he goes, "Oh, counting this one?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "One." And it was his first show. We didn't even know it because he had jumped in, and another guy who showed up for his audition and knew the songs. He's a really good guitar player, really good looking, cool, younger guy, fits in really well with us. And we gave him the name Lexus because, of course, he drives a Lexus. And then we added the 2 X's, and we had a party here one night, and my parties get a little crazy. And all night long, every time we talked about Johnny, who was here, we say, "It's Johnny Lexus." And everybody in the room would go, "With 2 X's." And so it just became a thing now. And we've turned him in, like, on our website or our Corruption Nation group on Facebook. He gives me quotes a couple times a week, gives me quotes that I put up, and they're like, plays off religious quotes or plays off of quotes from like politicians and stuff like that. And it's always about Johnny Lexus. So we knew when we were doing the liner notes that we had to put Johnny Lexus wishes to thank no one. But in honesty, he's a good guy and he cares about everybody. He's a cool guy.
So we kind of got how the band formed out of that.
Yeah.
So wow. Let's do this, and
okay.
Don't ever do this. But for some reason, you guys go on tour and you hire me to drive your tour bus. That's the part you're not supposed to do.
But you're picking out the pizza first off, because I'm already into your. Yeah, I'm already in. We're in sync on the pizza. So,
what are we going to listen to in between tour stops?
Okay. So depending on who has charge of the jukebox, right? If Joe has it, we're going to be listening to Maiden, Judas Priest, the 80s metal, like that power metal kind of stuff. We're going to be listening to that stuff. If Johnny Lexus has it, we're probably going to be listening to Guns N' Roses. He's into a lot of the 90s stuff, but not like he's more into like Buck Cherry and stuff like that of the 90s. He's not into like Nirvana, and you're not allowed to listen to Nirvana in my band. And if you're with Jamie, he's going to play some old school punk because he likes the old school punk, and then he loves metal. So he's going to play metal. If it's me, we're going to be listening to Motley Crue, Sabbath, Skid Row, Brides of Destruction, Beautiful Creatures, anything with George Lynch on guitar. So Dokken, Lynch Mob, Souls of We, anything with him. That's my dude. I've met him like 3 or 4 times. That's my favorite guitar player in the world. We'll probably listen to some Guns N' Roses if I'm in charge. So yeah, it'll be a mix of those guys. Kiss, Alice Cooper for sure.
All right, so you brought up Kiss. That's a perfect segue. So Kiss has played in a bay in Australia to great white sharks.
Okay.
And Metallica has played in Antarctica.
Okay.
What non-standard venue do you want to play at?
Oh, man. How cool would it be to play at Stonehenge? You know what I mean? Play out there with those, whatever they are. Nobody even knows what they are. So, what a video that would make, right? I mean, that would just be awesome.
You just fed in. I'm not going to ask the question, but I have this question from that. The first band I asked was Diesel Beast. They're in Denton,
Okay.
Denton, Texas.
Okay.
And their answer was that the question is, if you could play anywhere in the world with anyone living or dead, where would you play and who? And their answer was that they wanted to play at Stonehenge with Dio.
Oh, how cool would that be? Yeah.
And my response was maybe if you touch those stones in the right order, Dio will show up.
Or at least a hologram of Dio would show up. Yeah, no, that would be awesome. And if you ask me live or dead, who I was going to play with, so I don't know who it would be, but I know what band I would put my own band together. I had this the other day. Um, I had a dream about it, and my band had me, Izzy Stradlin, and George Lynch on guitar, and we had Nikki Sixx on bass. We had Josh Todd from Buck Cherry singing, or maybe Joe Listay. And then drumming wise, I go back and forth because I love Tommy, but I don't like Tommy Lee as a person that much anymore. But as a drummer, I do like him a whole lot. Maybe him or Jason Bonham, I think, would be. And then we can go play Stonehenge. But right now, I take the Corruption because my boys are playing really good right now.
All right, so you just led into another question, but I'm not going to be able to help you at all.
Okay.
So build me a super band from the Akron area.
Oh, from the Akron area.
That you are not allowed to, you or any of the Corruption are not allowed to be in the band, but you guys are going to manage them.
Okay. So I'm going to start with my son on drums because I'm going to tell you what, Bill.
Is your son's name Colton?
Yes. In 10 years, you're going to find Colton. Yeah, there he is. In 10 years, Colton is going to be, and he's probably sick of me saying this, but in 10 years, Colton's going to be one of the 5 best metal drummers in the world. Like, he's in with the right bunch of guys who are veterans, teaching him how to do it. He has the talent. We've given him, his mom and I have given him every opportunity to be a musician. He's going to Kent State for music production. He's got it all, man. And the talent, if you go to my page, you're going to see him play drums because I go watch his band every time. And the only thing I do is stand there with my phone pointing at him because he's so amazing. So he'd be the drummer. Kern Murphy would be on guitar. Guy Bechter would be on bass. If I was going to add another guitarist, I would probably, there's a guy, he doesn't like me, but I'll say him anyhow. Sean Hackle would be a really good guitar player singer, like a rhythm guitar player singer. And not because he's listening right now, but I really like John Lane's voice. He'd be one of the guys. In Akron, I think John's got the best voice in Akron. And Mike Smith, my singer from Less Than Zero, that guy can nail the notes too. So one of those two would be the lead singer. That'd be my band. I'm
waiting for the delay to catch up and see if John responds to that. There it is.
You know he's gonna, Bill. Come on.
There it is.
Johnny and I started a band called Cellbound together that he didn't stick around for very long, but we wrote one really, really cool song called Slave, and Johnny and I could write songs together if we wanted to. Yep.
Someday I'm going to see John play guitar in person other than my son's 3/4 acoustic.
Why in the world would you want to do that?
Because I just want to see it.
I could watch him play drums. I know he's a good drummer, but
yeah, that was well before I knew him. So that was a quick answer. It's almost like you knew I was going to ask it.
No, I did not. That's just, those are my favorite guys in town. Yeah. That are not in my band or in a band with me. Yeah.
What are we doing time wise? I tell you, let's take a slight break and then we'll come back and I'll ask you some more questions.
Yeah.
But this is your MTV moment.
Okay. I get to introduce our song?
You do.
All right. So this song, if you look for the video on YouTube, it's one of the funnest videos you're ever going to watch. We try to do our play on Guns N' Roses' Garden of Eden video. Have you ever seen that? Where it's like one take and they play the song straight through and the guys are late getting there. It's crazy. So we try to do this down in my basement. We didn't try and make it fancy at all. We just turned on some lights, did it. The video is so fun. It's got a bunch of views, and this song on Spotify has gotten over 4,500 plays right now. And it's not a hit, but for us, that's a hit. It's the first song I wrote for Josie and the Corruption. I wrote it with that first lineup of Jeff and Sam and me down in Sam's basement. And I've rewrote the lyrics a few times. This is my favorite song to play live. We usually either play it first or second. The song is called Sin City Outlaw. And we are the Rubber City Outlaws. So this is a cool song.
Hey, so we're going to take a moment and listen to Sin City Outlaw. And we'll be right back. For those of you that are watching for the first time on who knows what platform, because as I said earlier, I'm on like a billion of them tonight, which is really cool. We're not actually going to play the song tonight because a lot of those platforms will then mute the video, and we really don't want that to happen.
Can you tell that John Lane that he is correct? Sean Hackle probably is too pretty to be in a band with him, but so am I. So it's all good.
So what we're going to do is we're going to pretend like we just listened to the song, and we're going to come back, and I'm going to ask Josie some more questions. And those of you that are in the chat room, go ahead. If you have a question, pop it in there, and I may pop it up on the screen and let Josie answer it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, or I may chuckle and not put it up there, depending on what it says.
I'm having fun, man.
Thank you. I listen. This is episode 643. I've been having fun for a long time.
Yes, you have. I'll wait to do that when everybody's watching.
And I told you that I was editing another podcast earlier. That was episode 87, and I have 88 recorded of 3 questions in a song.
Oh, nice.
So lots of talking for me.
Yeah, you got a lot going on, man.
And then
but what you do for music around here is awesome, dude.
Thank you.
It really is. Yeah, John speaks super highly of you.
Well, there's a radio station on my website, buildthescene.com, that came about because you guys were trying to do one and it never came through. And I was like, I'm going to make this happen. So that's awesome. That's your fault and his.
I'll take that blame then, man. Hell yeah, good for you.
But I also have I think 14 episodes of Friendly Fire which is a live show that airs on XRP Radio, xrpradio.co.uk. But it's very sporadic. The next one is the 20th, and I think the last one we did was in August. So it's and again, I told you I was super busy. That's why.
I hear it. Yeah.
Everybody else is usually available. It's me that can't get into the show.
You got things going, man.
But John has an excellent question. We're gonna come back with that one.
Okay.
All right. So that was Sin City Outlaw by Josie and the Corruption. And Josie's hanging out with me tonight. For those of you that are hanging out, I put out there right before we went to the music that if anybody had any questions, they should pop them into the chat room and I might ask them. And John Lane wants to know who's Josie's top 5 favorite local guitarists are in Akron.
Okay. John's put me on the spot, so somebody will want to fight me. Kern Murphy is not just one of the best in Akron, but in the world. There's no doubt about it that of my top 10 favorite guitar players, Kern Murphy is in there. He is that good. And the fact that he is not more famous than he is and not getting deals from Ibanez, who he plays all the time, and deals from all these other people, the guy is, and I know he's not even listening. He's one of my favorite people, the best producer in the world, and the best guitar player in Akron, without a doubt. Let's see. Who would I say the top 5 is tough, and I can't think of his name, so I'm going to ask John if he can answer me. The guy, his name is Sean, and he used to play in a band that John sang with one night. I remember. I can't think of the name of the band.
That didn't eliminate anything.
No,
John
I know.
Sang with everybody.
He'll know who I'm talking about. His name was Sean, but that guy, he's a good-looking dude, and he can jam. He's amazing. I can't think of his name right now, though. So I would say he's in there. Did he answer?
You're right. Yep.
Sean Holtzapfel. That's it. That guy can play with anybody. anywhere ever. He's amazing. So I would say him. Let me think of other bands. There's not that many. Oh, the guy Mike Bennett who plays in Fracture. Now that's cover stuff, but the guy can really, really play guitar. He's amazing. And John, what's the guy's name? I can't think of it right now. That plays in Mad Acoustic and played in Motherload and a couple bands like that. That guy is really good. And then me.
So someone just posted on the YouTube channel in, I don't know what language it was, but I translated it and I still don't know what language it is. If this is to be for my republic, we'll never dismantle. If this is going to be for my republic, will never dismantle. I'm assuming is that where it's supposed to be.
So he
And it
hates
just
us.
keeps
That's what
going
he's
on and
saying.
on. Maybe.
Yeah. So we did 25 reviews through Reverb Nation where they did random people and they, sent our music out and you get ratings back from these 25 people who've never heard you before. And one person came on and said that basically we're going to hell and she couldn't stand the name of the band. She couldn't stand the song. She couldn't stand anything. Now, out of 25 people, she was the only one that didn't like us, and we got a 7.9 rating. But that was my favorite review because she hated us. So the first review we posted on Instagram was her review of us hating us and telling us she hated the name, she hated the song, she hated the style of the band, she hated everything about us. And if we didn't repent, we were all going to hell. And duh.
Well, that guy is the second person I've blocked since we've been on the air tonight.
Really?
Yes.
Was the other one John Lane?
No. Not yet, at least.
No.
The other one posted. I can't find it now. I must have deleted it when I blocked them. It was weird. It was worse than that one.
Yeah, all right. That's all good.
John has full questions tonight. What are your top 5 favorite shows that you have ever done?
Ever done? Ever played?
Yep.
Okay. So the Corruption opened up for the Bullet Boys at the Empire, and that was our first big show as the Corruption. And that would be in my top list. That was cool. Mob Scene opened up for White Lion and Enough's Enough, and I was in Mob Scene, and that was up at Peabody's, and I loved playing Peabody's. And I met Chips Enough, and it's one of the greatest lines ever. And Joe Acosta is laughing already before I even tell the story. But I got there, and I get out of my car, and I'm starting to load my stuff in, and my friend Kim Parker is there, and she knew Chips Enough. And she goes, Josie, you want to meet Chip? And I go, yeah. So I walk over, and he goes, hey, Josie, how you doing, buddy? And I go, hey, what's up, Chip? And he looks at me, and he goes, hey, Josie, got any weed? And like 3 seconds in, so it became this thing. Well, last year, this would be one of my other shows I really enjoyed. The Corruption played with Enough's Enough and what are they? I can't think of the other band. They were good in the 80s. They only had a couple songs. I can't think of the name of the band right now. But we went back and we're talking. My girlfriend and I went back and we're talking Chips Enough after the show. And he recognized me. And I'm like, hey, dude, I need you to look at me and say, hey, Josie, got any weed? And he looks at me and says it. And my girlfriend films it. It was awesome. 2 days later, a friend of mine saw him play somewhere else and said, hey, I'm really good friends with Josie. He goes, oh, I love Josie. So those were good. I was in a band called the Broken X, and John will remember them. I was in a band called the Broken X, and we played with Power Man 5000 at the Empire one night. And we were an industrial kind of metal band, and actually there's a new version of the Broken X out with my son playing drums, which is the coolest thing ever. I got on stage with my son and played drums like 3 weeks ago, and he played drums. I played guitar. It was amazing. Playing that show with Power Man 5000 was pretty awesome. And I got to play with both versions of LA Guns, Tracy and Phil Lewis. I got to play with both versions of them. That was really cool. And I have played like 15 shows with Faster Pussycat to the point where Tammy walks around the corner and goes, "Hey Josie, what's up, man?" Like, so that's kind of cool too. So I guess those are top 5.
My daughter has recently gotten into the local music scene, which
Okay.
is awesome because
And she's 14?
she's 12.
12, okay.
And we went to a Blackridge show, which you probably aren't familiar with, but I bet John hops in with a comment here.
They're from Pittsburgh, yeah.
They are. They are a. It's so hard to describe them. They're rock, they're funk, they're jazz. They have a keyboard player, they have a sax player.
Right on.
They bring instruments for the fans to play along with them. My daughter played the bongos with them half of their set.
Really?
Yes.
That's awesome. So she's in love now.
And the lead singer sat down beside her and was singing while she was playing, and on the microphone told her to learn the drum solo.
That's awesome, man. Good for her, man.
So while I'm not a musician, I think similar feeling when you see your son on stage to me seeing my daughter into what I'm into. So
I know he's tired of me showing up at shows and just gushing over him at the end of the night. But it's not just me. Everybody comes up to me through the whole show. Like, not only is he an amazing drummer, but at 19 and only having played 20 shows, maybe, he's got style. If I was Dusty Rhodes, I would say he's got style and grace, a pretty face. But he's got all that stuff. I mean, he's a good-looking kid. He can play. He's learned how to write. Him and I got together with this band that he's playing with me, and in 10 minutes, me, him, and the singer had written a song. So he has everything going on. He's gonna be. I'm telling you, if you don't know the name Colton Zeitler, learn it.
So John has another
John,
one.
go away.
Listen. John has co-hosted this show probably more than anyone in the history of the show.
He probably should have co-hosted tonight with me.
That's what I was going at. All right, so this time he wants you to tell your favorite John the American Hilljack Lane crazy story.
Okay.
So being his friend, what is something you've seen?
When we were trying to get the website going and the Rubber City radio going, right? I went over to his house one day, and at the time, John was just dealing with a lot of stuff, and I knew that, and so I went over to talk to him about some things. That guy smoked 25 cigarettes while I was there in an hour, like put it out, and while he's putting it out, is getting another one out of the pack. Now I don't smoke, so I'm sitting there like. And I felt so bad because I knew that he was doing it because the rest of his life was a mess at the time. But all he cared about was trying to make this thing that we were trying to do work. And he smoked so many cigarettes, man. I'll never forget that time. I'll also never forget the time that we've played a few shows together when he was back in what were they called?
FMA, Future
FMA, yeah. FMA. And I was in Mob Scene. We played shows together, or we would go to each other's shows. Because even though there was like a thing going then where bands weren't supporting each other, John and I supported each other's bands. We've always kind of had each other's back. And I think that's more what I'll remember about John. John's come to see The Corruption a bunch of times. I wish he would have come to the CD release party because I would have liked to have him come up on stage and sing with us. But John's a good dude, man. He's a mess sometimes, but he's a good dude.
I bet that he would have come up on stage and sang.
Yeah, and you know what he would have said? You know what he would have said? Somebody scream!
That's right. Did he ever tell you where he got that from?
No, he did not. I just assumed he made it up.
No, he stole it.
Oh, John.
I'll let him type it in the chat, and we'll put it up on the screen.
All right.
It is 100% like it's him giving an homage to someone in the Pittsburgh scene.
Okay.
So I'll let him.
Well,
tell
the funny thing is,
there.
other guys will do it here, especially if they know John. If I knew John was at my show, I would say it at least twice, so that he knew that I was giving him a nod. You know what I mean? Yeah. I love John.
So I just blocked somebody for 5 minutes.
Was it John Lane?
No, this Juicy Gamer 81. They're all gamers. I don't know why they're infiltrating me.
Twitch. They're watching you on Twitch.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
It probably is. Well, yeah. I have to look when it pops back.
And neither one of us are young enough or handsome enough for a Twitch guy to stick around very long. So,
but I have that cool picture of a truck behind me.
You do. And I have the corruption picture right here. I had to turn this off. I was so excited about this. This is the coolest light ever. My singer from my cover band made that for me. It lights up. We put it on our merch table, so it lights the whole table up. It's our logo, but when I had it on, all you saw was white. So I had to turn it off because I want the logo showing. Because we have the best logo in rock and roll, and anybody who wants to talk about that or wants to fight about that, that logo wins every time.
There, he kind of kept it short, but it's from Scott Boyd.
Who?
Scott Woody.
Oh, guy from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he was in Skell at one point.
I know that John loves Skell. I've seen Skell. They came to Akron with John one time, right?
Probably.
Yeah. I saw them at Chuck's Steakhouse. I saw them at Chuck's Steakhouse. Yeah. Great band.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to play them on this episode now.
They go through members, though, don't they?
Well, the problem is their members keep passing away.
Oh, well, that's not...
Yeah, they had a drummer who died in his sleep, and then their last singer died from COVID.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm sorry. He was in Whiskey High, which is the band that morphed into Skell. Okay. So he was not actually in Skell, but he was a precursor.
That's a great name. Whiskey High.
I'm
gonna go write a song called Whiskey High when we get off here. And Bill, I'm gonna write that song, and then you are gonna debut it on your show.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, I'm gonna go write that when we're done.
Maybe I'll get one of the members of Skell to co-host that.
Hell yeah, or get them to come play on the album, man.
So they are actually, since we brought them up, they're actually looking for a singer. They're currently auditioning and have been for a while.
Why can't John Lane do it?
Well, John is interested, and I know there were some talks, but I don't know what has happened from there.
Yeah. John can sing anything, man. Don't tell him I told you that, though, Bill.
Unfortunately, you told him. How about I'll ask you one more crazy question and then two more easy ones, and we'll call it a night.
Whatever you want to do, man. I'm having fun, Bill, so I'm in no rush.
Look, there's another one.
Another block?
Look, what are they even talking about?
Well, I'm just seeing it in foreign language, so that looks like French.
But there's English in there too, for sure.
Well, the corruption is worldwide, so people from all over the world.
And it's a YouTube.
That's crazy.
I'm going to bring that down, and I'm going to go ahead and give them the 5-minute one is called Put User in Timeout.
Awesome.
Jamie. There we go.
Oh, that's my bass player.
He says he was watching on YouTube, which is fine. He should have been able to reply on YouTube.
Yeah. Whatever, Jamie. You don't like me. It's fine. Jamie's a good dude. And you know what?
Jamie's requesting a song that I'm definitely not playing tonight. Maybe on the radio station, but not on the actual show where I'm talking.
Oh, Cocaine for Breakfast?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that song is about drugs, but not about drugs. The title just sounded catchy and fun, but it's just about a guy who woke up and his girlfriend left and took his dog and his best friend. That's what the whole song is.
You didn't say you play country.
It's a country song with a badass riff.
All right. Here's the question for you.
Wait, before you do that, that is a great example of why my band gets me. I wrote that song. I was working on it in my head over about a month. And I drove to Columbus for work one day. And on the way down, I listened to Buck Cherry. And on the way back, I was singing. I turned the music off for like an hour and was singing that song. And when I got back, I wrote it before practice, like wrote the music out. And then I went to Joe and I went to Jamie and I said, here's what I need you guys to do. Play this. You know what I mean? And in an hour, the song was done and hasn't changed one bit other than me doing like this little rant after the solo. The whole song hasn't changed since that night that we wrote it. Those guys just went, I got you. I know what you mean, Josie. Let's do it. And figured it out. Yeah.
So there's our first Twitch response ever.
Okay.
And it's I love you, Bill. I don't know who that is, but I'll take it.
All right. We love you too.
All right. So here's the question. There's an apocalyptic event that wipes out almost all the humans on Earth.
Okay.
And all but one song from every band in the history of the Earth.
Okay.
What song that you have been involved in writing is going to survive that apocalypse and help repopulate the Earth?
Oh, God. So it has to be something that I wrote with one of my bands.
I stumped them.
You know, I'm thinking, because I mean, I've got 6 albums out, so I'm thinking about which one. How about I give you one from each of 3 bands, and then
Okay.
So I was in a band called Mob Scene, and we were like a mix of Dokken and Queensrÿche. And I would say we wrote a song called Mob Scene. That would be one. I was in Cellbound, and the song John and I wrote was my favorite that we wrote, Slave. LA Nights, that song.
That's the band you were in when I first found out about you.
Yeah. And we wrote a song. Oh, man, we had a couple really good ones. We did one that Ripper Owens sang on called Devil on My Heels. I would say that would be one from the LA Nights. And then off this new album, Trash. Yeah. That's amazing. Or Sin City, but Trash is just a stupid song, man.
All right. 2 easy questions for you.
Okay.
What's coming up next for Josie and the Corruption?
December 16th, we are playing with Sponge at the Outpost in Kent, Ohio. That's our next show. We're breaking out some new songs. We're working on new songs for the new album. And in January, we'll go in and record the new album. Black Friday at noon, the song Cocaine for Breakfast debuts on YouTube, the video, and then gets released as a single on everything, Spotify and all that kind of stuff. That is such a fun song. People are going to love it. And the video is so amazing. Those are the next big things. But the second album is going to be called Being Number 2 Sucks. And the third album, I'm just going to tell you all. The third album is called A Cloud of Rust. And then the fourth album is called Led Zeppelin 4. And then we're doing a cover album after that, cover EP. And the cover EP will be called some version of Covers and Corruption. I can't remember what it's like. Coverruption. It'll be like a mix of the 2 words together. And then the vinyl will come out, and it'll be called In Rock We Trust. Because that's like a song we have. It's on our patch. It's a motto that we have. In Rock We Trust.
I'm so confused. Not by what you were saying, but now there's someone on Facebook talking about the Republic. Another nonsensical post.
They hate us.
I don't understand. It's been on almost every platform that I'm on tonight. There's been a post about this.
Maybe it's because of the corruption, the title Corruption. People are tuning in.
That one didn't give me the option to put them in timeout. They just had to be blocked.
So you glossed over the Led Zeppelin 4 idea.
Yeah.
You know that they never called an album Led Zeppelin 4.
I do.
And Led Zeppelin's my favorite band. And I made a joke one day, we should call our 4th album Led Zeppelin 4. But we'll spell it Lead, so it won't be a confusion, you know what I mean? And I'm like, then we're going to cover a Led Zeppelin song on that album. So, and Jimmy Page and I were born on the same day.
Same year?
No. I'm not that old, man.
I'm
old, Bill.
Just so everybody knows, as I said it, I was shaking my head no.
I'm old, but I'm not as old as Jimmy Page. In my convoluted mind, I feel like I will message Jimmy Page and say, will you play on our album called Led Zeppelin 4? And will you play rock and roll with us? And he will say, of course I will, Josie. And then we will put the album out. But we know that's not happening.
So you just made me think of a question that I have to ask.
Okay.
I have an official build to scene question. I ask it almost on every show I do now.
Okay.
It's who's your Dave Grohl? And by that I mean, who do you want to go up on stage with and play one of their originals?
Okay. God, man. Jimmy Page would be the guy. Yeah. Nikki Sixx would be awesome. I got a Nikki Sixx tattoo right there. I mean, Nikki Sixx would be awesome. But in the last 5 years, I think, Bill, you can probably attest to this. As I get older, I go back to what made me get into rock and roll as a kid. What is that?
There's another one.
Yeah. Hey, Wendell. I can't cuss you out right now, so I'm going to ignore you. I think that I go back to the Led Zeppelin thing because that was when I was growing up, and as I get older, I go back to it. Jimmy Page would be the guy, and the other two would be George Lynch and Nikki Sixx. Those are the only three musicians that I'm like totally enamored with.
You know what I think, and I'm sorry, I'm going off on this tangent. So last episode of the Pennsylvania Rock Show, I had, I don't know if he said who he is yet, but anyone who watched it pretty much knows who it was. It was a comedy episode.
Okay.
Where, I mean, it was Halloween, and the host was a local musician dressed up as a major from Russia, and he was asking me questions about the local music scene.
Okay.
So maybe
awesome. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that now, man.
So maybe that's where all these comments are coming from. Someone was
they're butting. Okay, yeah, I got you. Hey, screw them.
I just keep banning and blocking and putting them in timeout. We'll see what happens.
Are we having fun, Bill?
I am.
Good.
Okay, so last question.
All right.
Where can the listeners find Josie and Corruption online and follow you?
So everywhere. We're on, I think there's 150 different platforms for listening. You can find us on any of those. Spotify is where we have really found a home, and YouTube Music. We're blowing up on there. Like Spotify, in the last month and a half, we've had over 5,500 different plays. YouTube, we're in the 2,000 range. We're on Apple. We're on Deezer, we're on Pandora, we're on Amazon Music, we're on all that stuff. We have a website called thecorruptionakron.com. It's a great website. My drummer made it. He's still working on it, and he knows what I'm talking about right now. There's still some things that need to be done.
Did you say it was The Corruption?
The Corruption, THE, Corruption, Akron.com. Yeah. We're on Instagram as Josie and the Corruption. We're on Twitter as Josie Corruption. We're on Facebook. We have a big presence on Facebook. And that's because, to be honest, most of our listeners are in their 40s. And that's who's on Facebook. Although on Spotify, they give me a breakdown, and we are like huge with 26 to 35-year-olds. I don't understand it. Because they're not showing up at our shows, but on Spotify it's huge. And then like YouTube, we have all the videos on YouTube, stuff like that. So you can find us any of those places.
I just blocked another person.
Is this the most you've blocked ever?
I've never blocked anybody.
Okay, then you need to promote that we are the most blocked show ever.
I also now know who Chilling Tropic is because he put one of the questions that was asked in the last episode.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure it's the major.
So he doesn't have a question for me then?
I don't know.
Ask him. Chilling Tropic, you got a question for me?
I mean, I could post the question that he asked me. Oh wait, he says yup.
All right.
We'll give him a second. I was there. Think. Oh, he was there. It may not be the major. It might be. It might be Igor. He wants to know what your favorite song is.
Okay, so this is gonna freak everybody out. There's only one person that knows it. That's my buddy Brad. My favorite song ever written is Peter Gabriel's Salisbury Hill. I know that's not anything like what I do. And then my second like rock and roll song would be Shut the F Up by Brides of Destruction. But Peter Gabriel, I don't know what it is about that song, man. That song comes on, I get goosebumps immediately and I tear up, and that's a song that gets me, man. I hope someday that I can write a song like that.
So the current song that is kind of hanging out here at my house lately is The Sound of Silence.
But now, which version? The original?
No.
Okay. The one by not Disturbed.
The Disturbed version.
Really? Have you ever heard what was the band? God, we just opened for them. There's another version out from the early 2000s, and I can't think of the name of the band. John knows it. I know he does. We opened the Lonely Ones was a band, but before that they were called something else. I can't think of the name of it. I'm sorry, but they did a version of it that was amazing.
So my daughter actually used it in her audition for the musical that she's in. She sang "Sound of Silence," the Disturbed version.
Look at John. Do you see that?
I did.
I love John Lane. He's an idiot, but I love him.
Yeah. So my 12-year-old daughter sang "Sound of Silence," and that's what got her part in Willy Wonka Jr.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, someday I'm going to record that. And John Lane is right. I would want him singing on it, maybe. Yeah, definitely. Boba Flex. That's who it was. Check out Boba Flex's version of Sound of Silence.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
All right, so
ask me another one, Bill. Come on.
Ask me another one?
Yeah,
okay.
We're having fun. Ask me something fun. I got nothing else to do tonight. It's Thursday night. It's 10 o'clock. Let's have some fun.
Just so you know, we're some of it's going to end up getting cut because I have to play
fine.
Music, but we'll do it.
I'm still having fun. I don't care.
If you can invite any 4 people in the history of the world, alive or dead, to have dinner with you, who is sitting at that dinner table with you?
This might be one you want to keep on here then. All right. I'm going to start with John Adams, the president who helped everybody else. I watched his show on HBO or Showtime, whichever it was. John Adams would be one because that guy loved America a whole lot. John Adams would be one. I love Nikki Sixx, so I would say Nikki Sixx. So if I'm going to go musician, Ronald Reagan would be a guy I'd want there. And Chris Farley. How fun would that be? John Adams, Chris Farley. Ronald Reagan.
I am imagining
and Nikki Sixx.
How those other 3 are going to be sitting there going, what did Josie get me into?
And we're passing around red wine. We're all having a good time. Yeah. Those would be the guys. Yeah.
There's another block.
Maybe Bosch. How about Harry Bosch? That's my favorite character. I've read all his books. So I don't read a lot of books, but I listen to books every day in my car. And I've listened to every Harry Bosch book. There's 22 of them. I've listened to every one of them.
I am not familiar with that author at all.
No, it's Michael Connelly wrote them, but Harry Bosch had a TV show on Prime Video.
Okay.
And he's a cop. And the books about him are amazing. One more. Come on, Bill. You got another one. That was a good one, though. Can you imagine John Adams, Nikki Sixx, Ronald Reagan, and who was the other guy I said?
Chris Farley, and then
Chris Farley. All of us sitting around passing some red wine around. Bill, I got to invite you to that one too, man. It would be a blast.
Wow. I'm blocking another person. I don't know what's with this Republic thing, but it's getting people blocked.
So we're legendary, right? Because you've never blocked anybody, and now you've blocked like 8 people.
And it's not like it's YouTube and Facebook, which I've been broadcasting to
That's crazy.
forever.
They
It's
hate
not
us.
it's not the new ones.
I
It's
want
weird.
them to hate us. That's all good. Like Rob Halford saying, "I'm the one you love to hate." All right. One more question, Bill.
Let's see. This could get interesting.
All right. That's the way I like it.
So when I was teaching social studies, I was flipping through the book.
Okay.
And I found a picture of this guy who died, I think it was 1958.
Okay.
And he looks exactly like my college roommate, who is not dead.
Okay.
And
so
I sent a picture.
Doppelganger.
Yes. Like,
okay.
I took a picture of it. Don't tell the publisher because they'll probably sue me. And I sent it to my roommate, and I was like, "Dude, you're a time traveler." and he was like, he goes, "Well, damn."
Maybe
that was his response. Right? So he also thought that it was him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm flipping through a social studies book someday, and I come across a page with Josie and the Corruption on it. What did you do that got you in that book?
Oh, the band, right?
The band.
We probably talked about what corruption really is and why we know it's bad, but it is a necessary evil. Because everywhere there's some kind of corruption, and sometimes that little bit of corruption can make things happen that are good. I don't know. What else? I mean,
no, yeah,
we're not going to write a song. We're not going to write Stairway to Heaven. I'm going to write some good songs.
So my reaction wasn't to what you were saying. Look at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, all right. Hold on. I will never destroy great people for my republic. Okay. Hey, Pat, we don't want to destroy anybody great in your republic either. We want to love all the people in your republic and support them. Where are you from, Pat?
He's not going to answer you. He's gone.
Because you blocked him.
I
did. You know, right now, John Lane is sitting there going, what in the heck are these two guys doing?
John's like, all these people are getting banned, and I'm still sitting here.
And my band members are going, what is Josie doing? What are we haven't talked about the album in an hour.
That's how this show goes.
You're right.
So the EP is called One. You can find it at thecorruptionakron.com.
Yes.
Bald man full of lettuce.
Uh-oh. What did he
Someone
say?
has entirely too many accounts somewhere. That guy's blocked now too.
That is so awesome that the only time you've ever blocked anybody is when the corruption went on. Like tomorrow on our Facebook and Instagram and everywhere, I will be posting that the only time anybody has been blocked on Build the Scene is when the corruption stepped up.
And they're coming in full force.
I love it.
I hope. I don't even know which Facebook page I'm banning them on.
Bill, you know that now you have to play the corruption on all your shows because people are going to send you stupid things. You're going to block them, and it's going to make you're going to blow up. You're going to blow up.
Well, listen, if they continue talking about Republic, I'm going to have to come up with a question that has to do with Republic.
Okay. John Lane, do you want to write a song together about Republic?
I know he does. I really don't have to wait for him to respond to that.
Because I know that he will. we wrote one song together, and it was amazing. And someday we'll write another one.
But all right, well,
all right.
Let's one more time. Where can they find your new EP at?
Okay. So you can find us on Apple, Spotify, Deezer, Pandora, Amazon Music, any of the big ones. YouTube Music. We're on YouTube for all the videos are on there. We also have, and I know you posted it up, thecorruptionakron.com. All the songs will be on there. We're working on a player that will play it right now that'll go through iTunes because we're not getting a lot of streams on iTunes. So if you can go to iTunes or Apple Music, whatever it is now, and look for us, that would help because we're killing it on Spotify. But we could use some help on Apple Music and Amazon. And yeah, you can find it in any of those places. Or we have CDs.
Nice.
We have CDs for $5 that and we talked about it earlier. It's only an EP, so there's only 5 songs, but we'll sell them for $5. And we're gonna run a special on shirts for Black Friday when Cocaine for Breakfast gets released as a single. We're gonna run a special for T-shirts and CDs together, probably $15. Give up. Actually, that's what we'll say. It's gonna be $15. You get a T-shirt and a CD for $15 on Black Friday.
Hey, one more band before we go. That person took a shot at me in their username, so they got banned despite using the word Republic. The username was
they took a shot at you.
Yeah, it said, "Who is Bill Bald?"
What the hell?
There it is, Bill Bald. This is getting a little annoying.
Yeah, I'm sorry, dude.
All right, look at. Not definitely. I really think this is because of the last episode, which means we got heard somewhere. Apparently,
hey, I love it, man. I love people. I'm the man you love to hate. I love it, man.
Hey, so Josie, hang out. Everybody else, make sure you do not, when you're listening on the radio stations, you don't go here at the end of the show. What you'll hear is some more of the best unsigned rock and metal. Then you're going to hear from John American Hill. Jack Lane is going to tell you how to subscribe, leave comments, make suggestions, all that kind of stuff. When that happens, you'll know it's the end of the episode, but you should stick around on all the stations I mentioned way back at the beginning of the episode because you're going to hear some more of the best unsigned and independent music across the globe, and you may find your next favorite band.
And go listen to Josie and the Corruption on all the platforms. Listen tomorrow.
All right. With that said, this has been episode number 643, and we will see you next Friday.
Are we done, Bill?
Almost.